It was a cold winter night in the quiet town of Maple Ridge. The streets were empty, the trees stood bare and frozen, and snow gently covered every rooftop. The town was nestled in a peaceful silence, as families slept soundly in their homes. At the end of a small street stood the Miller family's home. It was a cozy, wooden house, filled with warmth and the scent of fresh-baked bread. Inside, the Miller family was fast asleep, unaware of the danger approaching them. John and Emily Miller, the parents, were in their bedroom. The two children, Lily, age 7, and Max, age 4, were snugly asleep in the next room, dreaming peacefully. All was calm, all was quiet. The night seemed ordinary until it wasn't. Around 2:11 a.m., a small, unnoticed spark from the old heater in the basement ignited a fire. Within minutes, it spread through the floorboards, climbing the walls. The fire spread rapidly. Thick smoke began to fill the rooms above, reaching the children's bedroom in no time. The Millers had no idea what was happening. The fire moved quickly, making it almost impossible to escape in time. But there was something or someone that saw the danger. A large golden retriever, with deep brown eyes and fur that shimmered like the sun, appeared at the edge of the property. His paws were muddy, and his coat was unkempt, as if he had been traveling for a long time. He stood on the porch, staring at the house with a determined look. The dog had no collar, no name tag, and no apparent owner. Suddenly, without warning, he ran to the front door. He began to bark, loud, unstoppable. His barks echoed through the night, cutting through the silence. He ran to the windows, jumping up, scratching at the door, trying everything he could to get their attention. The dog's frantic behavior seemed like a desperate call for help. Inside the house, John awoke. He coughed, inhaling the thick smoke that had already begun to fill their bedroom. His eyes flew open in a panic, and the smell of burning wood filled his nose. Something was wrong. "Emily, wake up. There's smoke. Get the kids. The house is on fire," he shouted, shaking his wife awake. Emily bolted upright. The room was filled with smoke, and the sound of crackling flames was unmistakable. They quickly grabbed their children and ran through the smoke-filled hallway, but the heat and confusion made it hard to think clearly. Just as they reached the back door, it jammed. John kicked it open with all his might. They rushed outside, gasping for air, heart pounding in their chests. As they looked back toward the house, relief washed over them. They had made it out. But the dog, where was the dog? The Millers turned around, but the dog was gone. The fire department arrived quickly, and the firefighters battled the blaze for hours. The Millers were told that their house had been destroyed beyond repair. But more importantly, they had survived. The dog's barking had woken them just in time. "We might not have made it out if that dog hadn't saved us," John said later, his voice filled with gratitude. The Millers told everyone they could about the mysterious dog. They described his golden fur, the urgency of his barking, and the way he seemed to appear just when they needed him the most. Local news stations picked up the story. Mystery dog saves family from fire, then disappears without a trace. It was a touching tale of heroism that captured the hearts of many. But the mystery remained. Who was this dog? Where did he come from? Why had he been there at just the right moment? The Millers put up flyers around town. They asked neighbors if they had seen a golden retriever recently. They posted on social media, hoping someone would recognize him. But no one did. The dog had vanished as quickly as he had appeared. Days turned into weeks. The Millers even offered a reward for information leading to the dog's whereabouts. But no one could find him. People started calling the dog the guardian dog. Some said it was a miracle. Others believed he was a ghost, a spirit sent to save them in their moment of need. But one thing was clear. Everyone in the town was obsessed with finding the hero dog. As the days passed, the story of the guardian dog spread far and wide. People from all over town began to share their own sightings. "I saw him near the old church," one person claimed. "I swear I saw him walking down by the riverbank," said another. Each time, someone would go looking, hoping to find him, but the dog remained elusive. It was as though he had vanished from the face of the earth, leaving only his legend behind. Some townsfolk started to leave food outside their houses, hoping to attract the golden retriever. Others set up cameras in their yards. But despite all the efforts, no one could find him. Lily, the youngest of the Millers, became particularly attached to the story. She would sit by the window, watching the streets, hoping to see the dog walking by. "Mom, what if he comes back?" she would ask, her voice filled with hope. "I believe he will." "Sweetie," Emily would respond, trying to comfort her daughter. But the longer the search continued, the more uncertain they became. Was the dog real, or had it all been a dream? The town, and especially the Millers, couldn't shake the feeling that something important had happened, and that the dog was a key part of it. Weeks later, Emily was going through some old boxes that had been saved from a fire. It was a task she had been putting off, not wanting to relive the pain of losing their home. But when she opened one particular box, she found something that stopped her cold. It was an old photo album. She hadn't seen it in years. As she flipped through the pages, a photo caught her eye. It was a picture of her and John, years before they had children, sitting together on a picnic blanket. Between them sat a young golden retriever, his eyes sparkling in the sunlight. "Brady," she whispered, her voice trembling. Brady, their first dog. Before they had children, before life had become so busy, they had adopted Brady from a local shelter. He was their constant companion, their family. He slept at their feet every night, greeted them with excitement every time they came home, and stayed by their side through all their struggles. But one stormy night, the gate had been left open. Brady slipped out and disappeared. Despite their best efforts, they never found him. They assumed he had run away, lost or hurt, and they mourned the loss of their loyal friend. But the piece of the past now staring at her made her heart race. Could this be the same dog? Could Brady have returned, just when they needed him most? A month passed since the fire, and life began to return to normal. The Millers found a temporary place to stay while they rebuilt their home. They tried to go on with their lives, but something was always missing. One chilly evening, as the sun began to set, Lily stood by the window, staring out into the distance. "Mom, Dad, look, it's him," she cried. John and Emily rushed to the window, their hearts pounding. Standing at the edge of the woods, they saw the golden dog, his fur glowing in the dimming light. His eyes met theirs for a brief moment, and he wagged his tail, just once. But then, as quickly as he appeared, the dog turned and disappeared into the trees. They rushed outside, calling his name, but he was gone. They searched for hours, calling out, hoping for one more moment with their mysterious hero. But he never returned. Years have passed since that fateful night. The Millers rebuilt their home. They never forgot the dog that saved their lives. Every year, on the anniversary of the fire, they light a candle on their porch and leave a bowl of food outside, just in case. And sometimes, when the wind blows through the trees, they swear they can hear the soft bark of a dog. Some say the guardian dog still roams the woods, watching over the families in town. Others believe he was a spirit sent to protect them, only to disappear once his job was done. But to the Millers, he will always be more than a story. He was their protector, their hero, their lost family member who returned when they needed him most. And even if they never see him again, they know one thing for sure: he never really left. Sometimes, heroes don't wear capes. Sometimes, they don't speak our language. But they love, they remember, and sometimes they come back when we need them most.